Insurance can be confusing and can be intimidating, but not if you know Blanchard. You can get a hold of Jamie Hoover. She will answer your questions normally extremely quickly.
Yeah.
She's on the BDM page.
Anybody at Blanchard can help you out. Let them know you're a Tom and Dan listener. They're going to give you the VIP treatment.
Yep.
I have to call them this week because my homeowner's insurance, they just sent us a letter and they're like, another $1,000 a year. I'm like, another! And that's happening all across Florida. Yeah. And if it's happening to you, just call Blanchard and say, when you talk to anybody, like, listen, I heard about you from Tom and Dan. Yep. They do every insurance. Like, I got my boat insurance through Blanchard. They do event insurance. They do health insurance. They do homeowners insurance. Yeah. Every car insurance.
And they got nice people to talk to, like the B-Boys. They're great. You might get them. You might get Jamie. But they'll answer all of your questions.
And they're going to find you the best rate. So if your homeowners insurance keeps going up every single year like mine is, maybe they could shop around.
You have an ally.
And you could find, and they'll let you know. They're like, well, maybe you have to do this or get a new roof from Secured to be able to get your insurance.
Yeah, sometimes they'll be like, hey, let me dig into this. We'll call you back. That's how they do it.
But it's worth a call. Yeah. Don't just take the rates increases that they do every year.
Don't just take it. You know what that means?
I just want to take it.
Don't just take it. No.
But I call Blanchard. They handle it for me.
Make sure if you're going to take it, you turn around and look them in the eyes.
BlanchardInsurance.com.
See, me and Dan, we relaxed during our break.
I did relax.
It looked like you were go.
I
mean, you flew as soon as we stopped the Friday Free Show. You flew out. Yeah, and you didn't come back till this morning.
He literally
at like 5 a.m.
We ended the Friday Free Show. You walked into the lobby. You did a little circle, and you said, "Well, I gotta go."
Yeah.
And I was here for 3 more hours editing ACT.
Like, we should put out a best of. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, flying already.
Bye-bye.
The worst part is when he throws the ninja bombs down and the smoke poofs everywhere, and then he disappears.
Yeah. Listen, I question my decisions every single time we do this. We're like, why did we do it like this?
I was like, why would he fly in?
Why?
At 2 a.m.?
Yeah, why? Late.
Take a day off before we come back.
Because me and Crystal have, I want to call it a disorder.
Yeah. You got a condition.
I'll call it a mental disorder where, like, if we're planning something months from now, we won't even think about the misery of doing it, but because it's so far away, we'll be like,
which tickets do you want? Get the red eyes.
Well, we're just like, how do we maximize the time? Well, we'll fly out Friday after the show and fly back Monday.
Fly back Tuesday morning before the show.
And we'll have these delusions where we're like, we'll force the kids to go to school. And
let me guess, they didn't go to school today.
Well, I think they went
half a day.
Yeah.
Because they're probably playing Hogwarts Legacy in their pajamas.
They were still asleep at 11 when I checked.
That's not when school starts.
I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be there like 9.
Crystal was like, "I'll take it for a half day." I don't think that happened. But
you're allowed to do that too.
But I was out of here on Friday after the show, and the speaking of the cold front, like it delayed flights.
Did it?
So we got the message when we were driving the airport that our flight was delayed, and then so we're like, uh-oh, and then so Crystal now, like, because of technology, you could see your flight. And so Crystal was looking at the flight tracker of the plane we were supposed to be on.
Not if you're a Malaysian airplane. You watch that docuseries?
No, I wanted to watch it.
Oh, it's good.
Have they ever found it?
No.
Still?
I'm not going to spoil anything. There's pieces
some say it's still flying.
There's some pieces that some debris that people claim could be. Yeah. But no.
There are people that claim to.
Crazy.
It's a good docuseries.
I don't want to see my plane. I'll tell you why.
If that little thing disappears.
I don't want to see it because a lot of times you'll see the one and then you'll see all the stats. It's a 737 MAX and blah, 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 with the ta. And then you get there and they're like, oh no, we switched to this one. This was old. This is a 706 putt. Old farts a lot. And I'm like, well, hold on a second. Put me in the big one that I just saw that it was mine. And that's happened to me a couple times where I got burned. Where I was like, oh, it's a new one. Oh, when was it built? You can see, it'll show all the stuff. You're like, oh, when was this one built? It's a brand new airplane. Then you get on there and you get the yellow handles.
So so Crystal is trying to figure out if we should book ourselves on a different flight or just take the chance that this flight eventually gets in and we get to Atlanta, because there's only like 2 flights out of Atlanta to Colorado that night.
And you're flying into Eagle?
And no, just direct Denver.
Oh, that's right. You're flying into Denver.
Flying into Eagle became unaffordable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It went insane. So anyway, but we get to Atlanta and we do the Home Alone run through the airport with
I hate that.
And
I always hate that.
Like we're full on sprint trying to get to the other gate because like as we land, the other plane is loading, and we're on A terminal.
I would have a freaking heart attack.
And we got to get to D terminal. Whatever it's like.
I give so much time in between if it's not a direct flight.
So we're running full speed. I'm telling Crystal, I'm like, what if we don't make this? And she's like, well, the hotel we already booked. The hotel's already paid for and booked in Colorado, so we have to pay for. If we miss this flight, we got to stay in Atlanta tonight and pay for the hotel we already paid for.
Right, it's just a wash.
Colorado.
Yeah. It's just
it's double.
We wasted money.
And then we got to fly the next day and then drive from Colorado into Glenwood, just 3 hours or whatever. Anyway, complete stress the entire time. We get to the the gate, right, and the guys literally checking in the last 3 people, and I think the airlines are experiencing the lack of employees like everybody else.
Oh yeah,
because this guy
hard to find pilots.
Yeah, there's nobody to yell at into the flights anymore.
This guy was scanning the tickets and he was the gate agent, both. Usually
and the pilot, and he put his hat on. Here we go.
I've never seen that before. Where the guy was scanning everybody's
tickets.
That's
like Andy Griffith. He put on his judge robe.
So we run over there, and Crystal basically is telling me the last person I talked to said they were going to add our names, but then I talked to another person who said our names aren't on there. So I'm like, for sure they're not on there because the first person just told you whatever they wanted to hear. They Tom Van you. So we
Tom Van.
We run up there out of breath. The Home Alone run through the airport, and then Crystal's like, my family, the Van family, are we booked on this plane? And the guy's like, hold on one second. He's looking at the computer like. And people are scanning, he's doing both jobs at the same time. Yeah. And I'm like, the way he's looking at the computer, there's no way, don't you just type in Van?
In his mind right now? What do you think he's thinking about?
Oh, he's just on Facebook.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you looking at?
What do you think he's thinking about?
I want to go beyond there and be like, aren't you just typing in Van? Isn't there some software that just says
this is
search feature
what are you
Van?
This is what Truist does to me when I give my name, by the way. I say on the phone, Daniel Dennis, and Truist will type forever. Forever.
And by the way, I never complain to any of these people because I know that what's the point of it, or and there's no reason to. It's like everybody's just trying to do their job, whatever. Like me complaining to them or trying to make their life worse or whatever, it does nothing for anything.
Right.
So I just stand there. But as I'm watching, I'm like, first, how long? What are you searching? Because I'm not joking.
Was he going through the entire flight log?
3 minutes. He was looking through there, and then every second that passed, I was like, well,
we're gonna miss it.
By the way,
what if he was stalling?
There's no more people in line. The plane is on, and then he's searching, and then
now, I'm guessing you don't have physical tickets or on your phone to show them that you're supposed to be.
We have the tickets for the flight that we already missed, and because our flight got delayed, so then the transfer flight that was supposed to be. So the lady said they were gonna bump us to this later one.
Okay, gotcha.
But we didn't know if that happened, so we're just, and of course I don't know nothing. Crystal on these trips, she is in charge of the travel.
Yeah.
So I'm clueless. I wouldn't even know if Crystal died. I would be like, well, we're living here now.
Me and my husband were talking about that the other day because he listened to the wife cast, and he goes, I don't think that those two could survive if their wives died.
No,
I can survive. Not only can I survive, I got a hot-ass new wife. Oh, man. You should see I'm surviving with this big old fake movie.
It would be...
Motorcycle Danny, at it again.
I'd survive, but it would be
rough.
Real
First thing I'd have is I'd have long hair. Very long ponytail.
And my relationship with my kids would be fractured, to say the least.
I'd be super fat, too. Really mega fat.
Mega
fat.
Anyway, and the guy's like, all right, come on. have to hold out.
Oh, wow.
and then somehow the tickets that Chris had, she scanned them and they worked. So I was like, what?
Well, you should have just had them scan it and not even ask the guy, right?
Well, I was just like, what just happened? Like,
well, don't complain about it. Just go with it.
I know.
Right.
But then, we walked on board, but I was like, I would have bet a lot of money standing there in that 3 minutes while the guy was looking.
He's like, nope, you're not here.
That for sure we were never getting on this plane. Yeah. Crystal was like, because we missed the flight before, this plane is oversold or whatever because of all the people. So I was like, well, we'll never.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I almost
Did you guys get to all sit together?
No, we had to all sit separately.
Yeah, is that weird?
So maybe he was counting the seats or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
There was something, but then I was like, well, how easy or hard is this? Isn't there a computer program to
ask him to look at it next time?
I was like, what are you doing?
Anyway. You can do what my dad does. Do you mind if I look with you?
Let me check.
Yeah, let me see.
Let me see if I can help you.
Yeah, so we got late. We got in late into Denver. By the way, I'll complain about this more on Friday, but
okay.
So we get to Denver, and of course, like all the plans that Crystal made, like, we're going to take the shuttle to the airport because a shuttle comes every half an hour or whatever. Because all the flights were delayed so much that we were standing there, and we walked over to the shuttle to where Crystal said we needed to be, and there's like 20 people standing there. So I'm like, well, this better be a big shuttle because we're not going to get on this.
Need a bigger shuttle.
And then a short bus, tiny shuttle comes.
You can't say that anymore.
So you can't say short bus?
No, you can't.
And I was like, well, we're not fit on this. And so
what if they're like, sir, your bus is here?
And then all these people started getting on, and some of the people that were standing there aren't going to make it. So me and Crystal were like, let's
let the boys go, boys.
No, we were like, let's just take a taxi. Screw it. We'll just pay for it.
But it's every 15 minutes for the shuttle?
No, half an hour. You don't
want to wait for that.
It was already
You're tired.
It's already
How far do you got to go?
Hotel. The hotel is 30 minutes outside Denver Airport because Denver Airport is far away from Denver.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's way out there.
It's also creepy and weird.
There's a big horse with red eyes.
Get it together because everywhere. Like weirdos.
So you heard about this one on the Denver Airport.
Yeah. There's the end of the world murals.
It sucks. It's just the worst.
I think there's
gas mask man, and Michael Jackson's nose is falling off, and a swastika.
So, I'm like, it's already 12:30 at night. By the way, we've been, the kids went to school on Friday. You know what I'm saying? So
right, because that's how you guys roll.
At this time, let's just pay the taxi. We'll drive over there because this shuttle is.
Could have rented a snowmobile with them.
Yeah, you could have. You could have snowmobiled right to your hotel.
Right up to the hotel.
So we look over, and there's the quintessential line of taxis. At airports where there's one.
Oh, yeah.
And so we go up there, and we try to get in the back one, and of course you have to go to the front because they're in the queue line, I guess. Like, you can't just pick your taxi you want.
You guys tried to New York it, like you're calling a cab.
No, because we're walking from the back of the line, so when we got to the first taxi, we just started getting in, and we're just like, we'll just use this one. I don't care.
Right.
And the back one was the SUV, and the guy's like, I'm sorry, you got to go to the front. Yeah. So we go to the front, and the front taxi is just some sedan.
You should have got an Uber.
And they don't. I guess
not near the airport.
You can't call an Uber. You have to. They still have the relationship with the taxis or whatever. Like,
but it's not like where you have to wait in line for it. They come specifically to you because you ordered them.
I've
done that before
at the Denver airport because I know at an OIA
or MCO you can't do it.
You can't.
I've done it multiple times.
No, okay,
yeah.
That may be
I remember back in the day you couldn't call an Uber to the airport, but
at 12:30 at night,
maybe it's different now.
We started realizing like we don't want to stay. Oh, by the way, all of our luggage we found out is we have to pick up the next morning because of all the flight delays. So the boys don't even have sweaters on. We're in Colorado, and so I took off my hoodie and I give it to Tommy or whatever, and then the boys are standing there freezing. So we just go to the taxi or whatever.
Fine.
So we go to the front taxi, and then it's four of us. So I'm like, I'll ride up front. So the guy's like, oh, hold on, and he's a pile of trash on his phone.
Gotta move my nudie magazine.
And he starts doing the sweep the trash onto the floorboard or whatever. And then I was like, I'll just ride in the back with my family. So we squished in the back, right? And so we're all in the back of this tiny sedan or whatever. And then the guy takes off.
So you must not have packed that much.
Well, all of our luggage doesn't come till the next day. Like, we checked everything. So we didn't have any carry-ons. So it's just us and then the clothes on our backs. So we're going to have to sleep at the hotel just without any luggage, and the next morning go pick up our luggage.
You got to go back to the airport to pick up your luggage?
The airport.
Extra work.
Already this whole trip's been a nightmare.
It was a bad start when he, did one spin and said, gotta go. Gotta go. Off to a bad start.
So 12:30. So this guy takes off. And so we're now driving on some sort of highway, right? And I'm not joking. I look down, and there's the horse with the red eyes past us. And I look down, and this MFer is going 100 miles an hour. And my family doesn't have any seatbelts on because we're all sitting squished together.
God.
So I'm,
you have to jump in the front,
which is illegal, by the way, because there's not enough seatbelts for you in the back.
No,
there's 4 of you.
No, yeah. This guy didn't care.
Taxi drivers don't care.
Yeah, this guy didn't care about legality.
Oh, man.
He didn't have the meter on, by the way, which we screwed up because we're not used to.
Did you just throw up?
Sorry.
A little bit. Tiny little bit.
We're not used to, like, turning the meter on, It's like, why isn't this all done by some sort of computer program?
You have to turn it on?
No, we didn't
He's supposed to turn it on.
He didn't turn it on, but he just told us, I'm like, how much the tickets to this Ramada or whatever? And he's like, $40. He didn't say it like that. And then I was like, all right. And then Chris was like, well, you should have told him to turn the meter on. He's scamming us. Yeah. And then I'm like, well, I'm not going to do it now. Let's just get out. Like, it's 12:40 at night. We're freezing. Like, we have to get to the hotel.
It's a 40 for 40.
So he's going 100 miles an hour, and this is why
why it costs $40, man. He's getting you there.
I'm not a real man, is because I should have, because I was like, I'm going to tell this guy.
Hey, slow down.
Like, slow down. I got my family in there. But I was like, no. I'm like, don't be a P word.
What if he's
just
like,
let him.
I'm going to go faster.
Let him, like, he knows what he's doing.
Are you sure this guy even was a taxi driver?
He had the thing.
A yellow car.
A retired taxi
It was a yellow car. It wasn't a yellow car. It was just a regular car.
Oh.
So Crystal put the seatbelt on, the one seatbelt over the boys.
I'm surprised she didn't say anything. What about her? She's the one that always speaks
That's
up.
Why I'm like, you're the crow. You call.
Yeah, you're supposed to use your talents. Yeah, crow powers tonight.
I think she was delirious and tired and done. Which all of this stuff we don't think about when we're planning. We don't think of, like, we're going to be miserable at 12:40 at night trying to do all this.
This is something you should overthink, is traveling.
But then you got to recover. It's the next day. I don't even mind it in it. Like, when I'm in the taxi going 100, I'm like, this is fine. But the next day, I'm just like, I feel like crap.
The next day was wake up, rent the car, get the car back to the airport, get our luggage, airport into Glenwood, 3.5 hour drive.
Oh my God.
Spring break on Saturday morning. Not the time to drive into the mountains.
Everybody's heading in.
Because we got to a point where right around the tunnels, like you start going through the tunnels in the mountains or whatever, it slowed down to 5 miles an hour.
I saw
an hour and a half, 5 miles an hour.
I saw Crystal's photo. I've never seen a bumper to bumper like that in Colorado, dude. It was very claustrophobic, weird to me.
Well, it's everybody driving from Denver to the mountains to ski or whatever.
You started this trend, Tom. You let the secret out, buddy.
Now the secret's been out.
Yeah, it's been out.
And it probably is like, hey, don't drive into the mountains on spring break when it starts on Saturday, which we did, of course. Also, I had to go pee real bad.
That's not like you. With your tiny little bladder.
Yeah.
Baby bladder.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, well, there is no rest stops on the mountains, especially going through the tunnels.
You have to expose yourself. You have to expose yourself.
Do you have a Gatorade bottle or anything?
Well, I started looking to the right of me, and it's just like snow, and then the trees start, but it's like deep snow, and I only have my
flip-flops on.
I've got only my shoes, my tennis shoes, and then Crystal has to pee too, and I'm like, should we pull over and then in this, like, there's just thousands of cars sitting here, walk into the woods through the snow?
They'll know what you're doing. They'll know.
Go pee in there, and
leave your children in the car.
And then I was like,
they can stay with the taxi driver.
Is there a place in the tunnels? Because and we were driving through the tunnels, and I'm like,
it's darker in the tunnels.
So can you get out on the tunnel
and sneak between and pee through a crack?
Andrea in the chat says, use the truck slow down.
We're in a portion of the mountain that doesn't have the
truck slowdowns.
Yeah, that's in a different portion where there's a higher actual
elevation.
Those only exist when they're super tall, mountains that are going down. They can't, the brakes fail or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so it was.
Did you pee?
I held it until
Proud of you. Did you hurt yourself?
Yeah, I hurt real bad.
He gets to a point where he has to stretch his legs out, and he's like, ah!
Yeah. And then when I go, I'm like, it should be more. Something happened.
Yeah, I do that too.
Oh, you messed yourself up.
Where I'm like, oh.
You went back in.
I'm like, something happened where there should be way more. This is the worst I've ever had to go.
Yeah, well, because your body reabsorbs it.
Yeah.
And that's because you're becoming a urine man.
Yourself,
you're becoming a urine man.
So we eventually got there.
This sounds great. This is the second day, by the way.
Not even a full 24 hours yet.
Then the first day skiing, Max had a cold.
I saw that.
Where he was all sick, and then it's like he's on the ski lift with his head down. He's like, oh, and then it was like, oh God, he's dying.
Well, at least you forced him to ski.
Then we forced him to ski half the day, and then he couldn't even do it.
Pizza French fry.
And take him back home. Then it was a whole thing. I'll tell some more stories.
Great spring break.
You can sign up to be a BDM at TomandDan.com.
We'll have some stories Friday on the Friday Free Show.
Yeah, tons of stories for Friday. I got a big one to tell about our studio, but I'm saving that for Friday.
Yeah. And also, I'll tell you something about this is not quite killing my whole family, but maybe a decision that could have done it just because we, back to no plan, decided to pivot and do some ice caves one day. And we're out there by ourselves, and I'm like, I wonder if this is safe.
Let's try to make it collapse.
Are we out here in the wrong time of day?
An avalanche is going to start?
Or just somehow, because it's all melting too, where I'm like, could some giant 300-pound piece of ice just come and kill us all? Or should we be
impaled? We just talked about impalements the other day.
Because I always think, if this...
You're trapped in there like a Chilean miner, and then you can't get out.
No service.
We're in the ice caves, completely unprepared. The boys,
no water.
The boys are wearing Crystal ski jacket because we didn't plan to go there, and then Tommy's stuck in this cave, and Crystal's go around the outside and pull him out, and I'm always thinking is there going to be some police that when they find us or come and then we're all being either saved or they're telling me how my family's still trapped, they're going to be like, why didn't you read anything about this?
Yeah. When the taxi driver is he crawls out of the wreckage and he's fine because he was drunk.
Yeah, or just hey, this time of year when all the ice is melting is the most dangerous time.
Did they say that at all?
No, who knows? We didn't read anything about it. We just showed up.
I'm in so many Sedona groups trying to get prepared for this trip because I've never been out.
How did you even find out about the ice cave?
Some old couple.
Hey, it's a great place to get trapped up there.
Some old couple at a different hike told us the ice caves are awesome, and then we just drove over there.
I admire your adventure. I admire that.
And then we tried to search on the internet, but the mountains there was no reception, so it was like, all right, we'll show up. And we were they just told us the top of this mountain, you'll see a sign, ice caves.
And run in there and scream a lot.
We just go there and there's ice caves. So it feels like there should be more people here. There's no one here, just us.
This is weird. It's almost like it's a trap.
Anyway, all right.
We got to take a break or get out of here. Yeah, we got to get out of here. Go to TomandDan.com if you want to sign up to be a BDM. We'd love to have you. Extra shows and extra parties that we are currently planning.
Yep. We'll see you tomorrow. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. We've got a special guest on the line.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. He's going to be at the Chasco Fiesta, 7 p.m. in Sims Park in Newport Richey, Florida. It's John Waite with Mickey Thomas on the line with us right now. John Waite, what's going on, John?
Well, I'm in Santa Monica. I live in Santa Monica, and I'm just waking up. And I'm having a cup of coffee, and life is good.
I love it. I have to start with something really, really quick that I didn't know about, but I do now, and I watched the entire thing yesterday on Tubi. And I got to watch your documentary the hard way, and I didn't even know you had a documentary out. And the first thing I wanted to tell you, and I told the guys the first thing I came in this morning, that is one of the best rock and roll, biography documentaries I think I have seen. And for all of my friends listening right now that like music documentaries, Go watch this one. It's on Tubi. It's awesome. It's called The Hard Way, and it's basically John Waite's life. Congratulations on such a great documentary, man.
Well, it's not my work. I just showed up for like a week of interviews and got on the phone with the director, and I just sat there and sort of gave my side of what happened in my life. It's pretty honest. It's pretty straight up.
Yeah.
But it's kind of nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking being sort of like talking about your past truthfully and trying to be honest and not throw anybody under the bus too much, but tell the truth,
That was the best.
It's very popular, yeah.
Yeah, well, that was the best part to me, and I apologize for cutting you off. I'm super excited because there was a beautiful part in there where you get to see, and Tom, that you'd like this, you get to see the friction between John as an artist and one of his producers that's producing a track, and they interview both of them, and you get like sort of a side-by-side comparison of what each, what their goal was, what their job was, and how they executed it. And I've never seen that before in a documentary where you were really able to get both sides. It gave a far more complete, to me, storytelling experience of, like, you making a hit song. And was that the director's idea, or did you know that they were going to do that? Was that weird for you at all?
No, I knew they were going to interview the people. They had a broad spectrum of people that were willing to sort of come to the table and be interviewed. But, they had set questions, and obviously with some records, it was a dogfight in the studio, and in some records I was producing, so it went really smoothly.
Right.
But, but as you start off in the business, you're working with people you don't know, and you don't know what to expect. So you learn as you go. And the game is a tough game. And you're up against some people that are older than you, that are trying to manipulate you, and you either stick to what you believe or you sort of go along with the mainstream. I think the whole point of The Hard Way is maybe that I've not really been mainstream, even though I've been fairly successful.
Sure.
I'm not what you would call a mainstream artist. So I think that's the point, maybe, of the documentary. But you'd have to ask the director.
Yeah, it was really, really great. And another thing that, growing up, my father and I always loved your music. And
thank you.
Because you're so soulful. And I always wondered, even as a young boy, I would wonder, why do the Brits seem to get it so authentically correct when they're singing? Well, why are British people so soulful? Why, or at least a lot of the musicians?
The odd thing about that, paradoxically, as they say, is that all the great singers came from America, like Robert Johnson and Bob Dylan, Otis Redding, Tina Turner, Sam and Dave, Martha and the Vandellas, all those, and Hank Williams. But Bob Dylan is a fantastic singer. But the British have got a Celtic thing. They come from Ireland and Scotland and from all over Europe. But I think they heard that, and it unlocked something that they didn't know they had, or they had it and didn't know how to translate it.
Yeah.
Reinterpretation, you listen to the Beatles, and they were enormously influenced by American soul music, and hey presto, I didn't know I could sing.
Yeah.
I just opened my mouth and there it was. But I think a lot of British singers, the great Joe Cocker, Rod Stewart, Paul Rodgers, Terry Reid, just all the really beautiful, great, they're all influenced by American music. It's weird.
It is. It's extremely interesting. Yes, Tom?
John, I have a question for you. You've been performing for over 40 years, and starting in the 70s, you saw and you lived it, the transition through the internet, through the way things used to be done. Speaking of your documentary, The Hard Way, you had to do it the hard way. And I'm curious to your perspective of how you watch things change and go into the internet era and social media and the way things are now from the way they were.
Well, it was, when you set up when you're a kid, you need a record company, and they front you like $200,000. The Babies actually got $1 million.
Wow!
To make records over a period, it was a big deal at the time. But as the internet happened and MP3s, people could share music files, and then there was streaming. the record companies stopped being record companies. They're buying publishing interests and catalogs and living off classic rock, really. But I don't know what kind of function they serve anymore, unless you've got Taylor Swift or, some major country artist. I don't see how they make money at all. I managed to, when my career sort of went south, I just kept making records. And then I realized I could sell records and have my own record label and put them in the stores with the distributor. And the next thing you know, I'm back where I was. I'm selling like loads of records, but I'm doing it as an independent. And so the record business is no longer, it doesn't have that stranglehold on the artist. The artist can make great records for like $50,000 and get a distributor and put the record out.
Yeah.
And you get paid 100%. I mean, with a record label, you only get like 18%, and then you're supposed to pay back the advance with the 15% once you've recouped. It all gets very business, and it gets in the way of the music.
And that's what happened to the Babies, right? Like with the $1 million contract.
Well, the Babies, the Babies got into tremendous debt, and we just couldn't get out of it. But it was a great band.
Yeah.
But that was how the game was played back then, and only about 2% of the artists making records actually was successful. Everybody else was in debt. So it was like a Chinese puzzle. You're trying to solve it. But now I make more money, sell more records than I've ever done. And it's kind of like, wow. And it doesn't involve being with Universal Music.
Right. You don't have to worry about any of that.
So, John, I got another question for you, and this may seem like a dumb question, but I thought about it a lot. But for new artists now, do you think it's easier to come up or harder? And let me explain real quick, because you would think, it's got to be easier because you could market yourself and expose yourself to the world through the internet. Right. But that also involves the dilution of there's so much competition for people's time, and so there's so much out there more than there was, but it's so easy to expose yourself. So what do you think?
Well, I think the competition is staggering. I think there's a million people now making records, and none of them are successful if you look at it like being in the music business. If you want to reach an audience that really love what you do, and you want to play like to 500 people a night, if you're lucky, or maybe more like 200, you can have a career and be a real musician and a songwriter and be heroic. But if you're looking to be Taylor Swift, if you're looking to be sort of like Def Leppard or any of the really big bands, I think that's kind of out of the question. I think you're going to lose some teeth, Yeah. But if you do it because you love it, I mean, what is success? When I walk out and I play to maybe 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people, that's really successful. That's like playing to people that want to hear you sing, that love your music, that buy your music, that support you through thick and thin. That's success. But if you want to be making like $10 million a year and be riding around in a private jet, I mean, that's a whole different kind of success. And I'm not sure how much music is actually involved in that. That's about being a businessman and playing the game and doing it for the money. Yeah. So you have to ask yourself, what do you mean by success?
Yeah. Tom means money.
Tom does mean money.
I have to say, that was a pretty good answer. That's about what it is.
Yeah. Really well, but you're an artist, and even in more than one way. Like, I didn't know before.
He has art on his website.
Yes, Sam said that, and even in the documentary, Sam, they kind of go into his art, and, I found it very odd that... you say in the documentary that you didn't think you could get your art, and maybe I'm bastardizing and messing up this quote, but it was almost as if you were saying you couldn't get your art good enough, or you didn't think you were good enough. Man, I saw your stuff, and I thought it was amazing. I think you're an extremely talented artist, especially...
that's kind of you. No, I was good. I'm not being coy about it. I was good. But I wasn't going to... I mean, there's hardly any work for an artist. I mean, you're going to wind up in a small room with a bunch of paint, running out of paint. living off the government with nowhere to go. And there's some artists like David Hockney, and there's artists from the past like Alphonse Mucha, or there's Picasso, there's Monet, there's Toulouse-Lautrec. These people kicked the door open and did something. There's Banksy,
Right.
And these are people that are like crusaders. They're like Jimi Hendrix of the paintbrush. And I felt I could do something more authentic by just doing something that I knew I wasn't 100% good at, which was music. And it turned out that I actually had some talent.
Right.
But I took a shot on it because it would be spontaneous. And that's why I changed. I decided to shoot for something that didn't take a week to make. It took about 10 minutes, and it was going to be authentic because it was just so spontaneous.
Do you remember the first time you realized that you could sing?
Yeah, I was running upstairs to my bedroom in my folks' house, and I sang a Steve Marriott Small Faces line. I just let it rip, and I hit this note that was kind of like, wow. I remember stopping and thinking, man, I can sing. But I was probably about 11,
That's crazy to remember that. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
John, I'm curious to, how you feel, or if you ever contemplate the song "Missing You" has. I'm sure it's impossible to even quantify, but I'm sure it has been heard by a billion people.
Probably more.
You know what I'm saying?
More than a billion.
As far as how many times this has been played, and especially just talking about even pre-internet time when radio was playing,
and movies,
and soundtracks and stuff, and to have a billion people, it was roundabout, say a billion people have heard some art that you have made. Do you think about that? Does that strike you as oh my God?
Yeah. Well, the worth of it is that it only took 20 minutes to write it. And it's back to me giving up painting to be a singer because it was more spontaneous. And this thing was made up over somebody else's chord changes. I just sang it in the studio a couple of times, and there it was. And that's why I'm proud of it, because it's unself-conscious and inspired and dark. And it's vulnerable, but it's angry, and it's kind of whatever it is. But that's the most honest work you can make. That's really something to arrive at that, to spontaneously write something. And to have that be that big is, wow, that it blows my mind.
Yeah.
And to have that many people understand you. I think in life, all of us, to be understood just once, by somebody that really gets you, not somebody you're married to or whatever, but to have people you meet go I know who you are. That's what I think a lot of people want. They want to be understood, and I feel understood, and it's hard to top that. I'll never write another song that's going to have that impact because it was of its time.
Yeah.
But it's a hell of a song, and a lot of people have covered it, and I'm just honored and touched and grateful.
Go on YouTube now, Tom, and just type in the name of the song, and daily there'll be some new young man or woman with a guitar sitting down and covering that song. Is it true that Saturday Night Live wanted you to play that song and you refused?
They kicked me off. Yeah.
Really? They kicked you off?
That's what I heard in another interview. So they just didn't let you play at all?
Well, we're supposed to do 2 songs,
right.
And I wanted to do Saturday Night, which is a hard rock song, because we're on Saturday Night Live.
Makes sense.
And then I was going to stop in the middle and play Restless Heart, which is a country song, and they got wind of it, and they said, if you don't play Missing You, you're not doing 2 songs. And I said, that's the way it is. And so we just did the once, and I was kind of they didn't like me. It was like that. It's like if you want somebody to be rock and roll, just let them be. It was going to be a very entertaining night, And Missing You had already peaked. It'd been number 1 and was, and it was like the new single, Restless Heart, is a beautiful song. And I brought backing singers that were going to jump up. It was going to be a real night. But they obviously, somebody told them. And so it was just down to one song. But it was like, okay, I don't care. I'm going to do this song that I want to do, and I'm on Saturday Night Live, and thanks for having me. But they were pissed,
Wow.
I like that.
That's crazy. I'm glad you
put your foot down. Yeah.
You got some balls.
He does. Now you got to watch the documentary.
Yeah. I would have caved. I mean, I'll play whatever
fine.
you want.
Yeah, I mean, you could have named the documentary My Way because, like, you don't budge very much, do you?
No, I don't. But I think I always expect people to get it. But people expect you to be this sort of like cookie-cutter rock and roll person that's like, but I think like an artist and I act like one. And I try, I'm not trying to be interesting, but it was kind of like, what are things to do on live TV? And they had kittens. They couldn't stand it. But I thought it was going to be great night of entertainment. But I don't like being told what to do by anybody, which is back to the record companies. I have complete freedom to do anything I want to do. And I couldn't be happier. My voice is in great shape. I have a great band. We're going back out on tour. We released a 5-song EP last year called Anything That's Beautiful, 5 new songs.
Anything That's Beautiful.
And the greatest hits. We went to Holland and played 7 gigs in Holland that were sold out. We're having a ball. And, I've managed to survive all this stuff. It's still the best thing in the world to do. I'm just happy as a clam. It's the best time of my life, really.
You mentioned Taylor Swift, and much like Taylor, did you go back and purchase your music so you can control even the older songs that you have?
Yeah. Well, I did with the solo stuff.
Nice.
I went back and got Temple Bar, which is my favorite record.
Yeah.
And then when Doug Morris, through Alison Krauss, gave me the next album, and Norm Waite gave me the album after that. People gift you this stuff. There's some people out there that are powerful, that are really great people. The music business gets a bad rap because there's a lot of people in there that really do love music, and they love the artist. And I've certainly seen some of that. But I've seen the other side of it, too. But here we are.
Yeah,
on
and
radio.
the fact that you got to work with, or if Alison Krauss gifted you that, in my opinion, and I've said this before on our show, and some people agree with it, I think she has the greatest female voice I've ever heard. And that's just, I love it. I think it's so pure. If you go and listen, and the fact that you got to sing with her and duet with her, and that I think you guys are friends, like, that's amazing. How did you guys meet each other?
Well, I was making a record of greatest hits in Nashville, and I was re-recording some hits to put it out as an album so it would attract attention and I could go back on the road. And it came to Missing You, and I thought I'd do a duet. And my favorite singer, I love bluegrass. I like it more than country. It's just wilder and darker and deeper. And there was Alison. She was on the TV on this station that I used to watch. And I got my manager to call them. She said yes. It was mind-blowing. So we went in the studio and cut Missing You. And it's still, for me, probably my favorite version of the song, the duet of Missing You with Alison Krauss. So, some things just work out like a fairy tale.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, we got to thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Again, John, and it's John Waite and Mickey Thomas, Saturday, April 1st at the Chasco Fiesta, 7 p.m. in Sims Park. That's Newport Richey, Florida. John, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do this again, okay?
Well, thanks very much. They were very good questions. Well, and I enjoyed the stuff about Saturday Night Live, too. I mean, it's great to talk about.
We try to do our homework, and I'm just telling you right now, Sam put something in our chat room that I didn't even know, but your documentary has a 100% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which means that nobody has disliked it, not one person. So, thanks again.
Well, there was one guy that used to be in the Babies hits.
No. We won't talk about that. Is that the beer bottle? Is that the beer bottle incident?
Yeah.
Okay. You got to watch the documentary.
Yeah. Okay.
There's some stuff in there you got to see.
No, it's an interesting guy. But listen, everybody, thanks very much for the time. See you soon. God bless. Be well.
All right, man. Same to you, John. Take care. That is John Waite, and thank you to Billy the Phone Freak for setting that up. That's cool, right?
Yeah. Does he still want to be called that?
You know what? I'm going to call him that because I could call him just Billy, but nobody's going to know who the hell that is.
I mean, should it go digital?
Digital Bill.
Digital Billy. Yeah, all right. We're changing it.
Digi Billy.
That's from Digi Billy. He might hate that even more. I don't know, but that was cool. So I'm a big John Waite fan. My dad really liked his music. My dad always liked a lot of the Brits that could sing soulfully. You know, like my dad loved Joe Cocker. I mean, Joe Cocker's man.
Yeah.
I started thinking about this, and I know I use this analogy too much, but the MASH finale and the fact that it had
Are you trying to switch up your analogies?
He's doing this specifically to torture me.
But because it would make sense if you think, well, things can spread around and have more people listen to them now because the internet, right? It can spread so fast. But I feel like it spreads fast and it dies fast, and then on to the next thing because there's so much. And back, there was a time, 70s, 80s, 90s, you know, where these hit songs had so much play worldwide and so many radio stations over and over and over that I'm like, I wonder if more human ears heard like a hit song, like there was like a Missing You, than any song nowadays could ever have listeners because.
Yeah, I see. It's interesting.
You know what I'm saying? There was less distribution, streams.
Like right now, a hit song doesn't get as many pertinent and active ears on it as a song that's released.
Yeah, in so many bars. Yeah. You know, think about how many events it was played at, and bars or restaurants, and how many times it played on the radio stations for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, when the only people in the movies and things. So there was less ways for people to hear things, and then therefore, when there's hit songs like Missing You, more human ears have heard it than any human ears could ever hear any song moving forward.
Right.
Digi Billy does have a note. He wants to make sure that everybody knows that the Chasco Fiesta is a 9-day festival of food and entertainment. It includes a street parade, a boat parade, a car show, a 5K run. 9 days.
What is John Waite playing 9 days?
You start
Come celebrate 101 years of the Chasco Fiesta.
Well, why are we going to the Chasco?
I don't know.
I want to go to this.
Looks awesome.
It's 9 days.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
They got a car
from March
show.
24th through April 1st.
They got a boat parade, Tom.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be in a boat parade.
I tried to do it at Christmas.
I feel like we could make that happen.
No, we vetoed it. I had Tom's wife ready to enter his boat into the Winter Park Boat Parade, and he nixed the idea.
Is it because you were embarrassed of your boat?
No.
His boat's awesome.
No.
Well, I mean, according to like comparing yourself to the Winter Park boats.
Yeah, but it's dark and you get to put lights on.
Yeah,
I got 2 batteries. I can rig one and
I told you, I'll help you do it.
You're not great at decorating.
He's not.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah.
You should have seen how bad the T&D house looked during
before I started helping him.
Yeah. Well, no, over there during Porch Fest, you should see these 2 monkeys effing a football trying to hang one banner.
Even the interior.
We didn't even bring a ladder.
And then I'm like,
he was standing on my shoulders.
I get in the Winter Park Boat Parade. It's at nighttime, and then by the time we finish rigging the boat, I'm on the boat, so I have a couple claws, and then we're in the parade, and then I'm like excited, so I have more, and then at the end of the parade, you got to get out of there. The Winter Park cops are there at the boat ramp.
They're fine.
I'm just saying, they're like looking at you.
Do the Sanford Boat Parade a little looser.
We can do Sanford Boat Parade.
It's hard to dock or put my boat on the trailer. It takes like 5 or 6 times. It looks like I'm drunk every time.
Because you still have the uneven,
the uneven and sideways, and then
the different color ramps.
Crystal's yelling at me, it's still sideways, and I'm like, God. And then I'm on and off, and then I get more nervous when you got other people watching me on the dock, and then the cops are there watching me, and they're like, what is this guy doing?
You must be drunk. Tase him.
He doesn't belong in Winter Park.
Yeah. Then I have to put the straps on, and then I'm like, remember all the steps.
Is it hard to do when you're drunk? It's real hard, isn't it?
Things are harder.
Yeah, things are harder. Do you ever wake up and look?
It's easier and harder.
You ever wake up and look and you were too drunk to do something and nothing's put away?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Well, I'm just saying, like, going through the steps. Although that pilot, remember the one that flew upside down? That guy was drunk.
Yeah. He was going to drink more. He was drinking more. And when you drink more, you can do more.
Yeah. He said that the only reason he could do that is because he was drunk.
That was Denzel Washington, right?
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington's drunk.
He said it.
It's fine.
It's on TikTok. He's like, I had 10 beers today. Remember
Yeah, I see the TikTok thing.
Yeah, it's like I had a drink one day, every day of all the time, or whatever. It is.
What?
One day, every day, all the time.
What is that?
That's Denzel Washington. That's how Denzel Washington drinks.
It was him in court telling the jury how much he drinks.
I like beer.
It's that stupid movie. What's the movie called?
Yeah, it's Upside Down.
Upside Down
I think
Plane.
it's called Drunk Black Pilot. My favorite movie. All right, we got to take a break.
All right.
We'll be
No, we're gone. Well, are we gone?
Are we
We're
gone?
gone.
We're gone.
Okay, see you tomorrow. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer's here. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
Let's not waste any time, buddy. Get it all out.
Yeah, real quick. Pints and Paul's this Saturday in Sanford, all to benefit awesome dog charities.
Yeah.
And it's a huge beer fest.
But that's secondary because we're there for the booze.
it's Booze Fest.
Yeah, it's booze.
Over
fest.
100 booze.
Yeah. Get your booze and bring your dogs out there. Okay, on the line with us right now, and this is super duper cool. And it's a little weird. My wife is in the chat room patiently awaiting this guest because one of her favorite bands, if not her favorite band, and I tried to get her to go to this show, but we already have some dance thing we got to do with Maisie, but appearing, and this is upcoming at the Seminole Hard Rock Tampa Event Center, Skid Row with Buck Cherry on the line with us right now from Skid Row, Rachel Bolin. How you doing, Rachel?
I'm doing great, man. So where's this dog and booze thing at?
Oh,
Sanford, Florida.
It's in Sanford, and apparently there are too many booze fest around there. So we were just making a joke because sometimes people in Sanford get a little twisted with all the different street parties and fun things that they have there. But no, you're going to be at the Seminole Hard Rock in Tampa with Buck Cherry. And congratulations on the brand new album. The gang's all here. I fired it up this morning, and I was explaining to Tom about how this record sounds huge, man. It sounds really, really big. And for somebody like me that I still dabble in metal, I want good musicianship and I want good singing. And boy, do you guys have it now, man. The record sounds great.
Well, thank you very much. We were really proud of how it came out. And working with Nick Raskulinix, I mean, his track record speaks for itself. You know, he before being a producer, he was a fan of the band, you know, and he wanted to make his favorite Skid Row record, and that's what he did. And we credit him a lot with bringing us, as stupid as it sounds, bringing us back to our roots, because it's really not easy to retrace your steps, and he helped us with that, and we just got our mind back in the same spot. And he just wanted a big, loud rock and roll record, and that's what he delivered. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it sounds huge. And one of the things that was interesting, we were watching some interviews this morning and reading some stuff. Samantha, our producer, pointed out that a lot of what you guys were recording at the time, you were sending tracks to Sweden. Is that correct? And he was actually
For the new lead singer,
yeah, for your singer. He was recording in a different country. Is that something that you guys had done before? Is that a new thing for you guys?
No, and something I never want to do again. Well, we had the album done pretty much, and you know, we knew when we decided we were going to make a change, and we contacted Eric, and everything just fell into place. Nick had suggested, he's like, hey man, instead of flying him here and you know, him being away from his family and you know, having to use the studio, he goes, just have him use his setup at home and do it there, and I'll just coach him through it. And that's what they did, and it was cool. It was pretty cool doing it that way, but I like all being in the room. The two of the songs we actually did in Vegas when we had the residency with the Scorps, and we had some downtime, so we just went and finished the vocals in Vegas. But it was cool. Yeah, I mean, it came out great. I love the way it came out, and I mean, who better to edit vocals than the vocalist? You know?
Yeah, true. But I'm with you. I've played in bands before, and something about sending tracks. I remember hearing that, you know, years and years ago, like 20 years ago, when Blink-182 was doing that, and that was like a thing. And I was like, man, I don't think I ever want to do that, because I just enjoy being with my friends, or sometimes not friends, because they're bands and you fight. But you know, you want to be with the guys that you're playing with and cue off of each other and use that musicality and musicianship to quite possibly just get a better and tighter sounding record. So, like, I definitely agree with you. And I'm reading something on my paper right now, and just to go back in the Wayback Machine, and we're not going to ask you any of the weird stuff, but this is a little weird. Is it true that at one point you were so poor that you were using your JCPenney credit card to eat in the JCPenney cafeteria?
Absolutely. I was the youngest one by about 70 years.
What's on the menu at the JCPenney cafeteria?
At that point, it didn't matter.
Right.
I ate a lot of
cheese
I
sandwiches.
ate a lot of beef barley soup. A lot of beef barley soup.
Beef barley soup. That's what old people eat, man.
That's what he said. It was only
That's
80-years.
exactly what it was, man. I walked in there with long hair and ripped jeans and an old jacket, and they're like, "Is he going to rob us?"
yeah, things haven't changed.
Rachel, I'm curious, and I'm forgetting the time frame, but it may have been in the early 2000s. I started seeing people everywhere wearing Skid Row shirts, and then I was like, wow, like all these young people like Skid Row.
Well, that Slave to the Grind, you remember the painting looking thing? I started seeing
it became
that.
iconic.
Yeah, I started seeing that on like 14 and 15-year-old people's like.
And then I realized, like, okay, well, Hot Topic selling them. It's this reinsurgence of these iconic bands and people liking the branding, and it represented more than even just the music.
Back when bands had logos.
Well, I'm curious on your thoughts on that. Like, how did you feel when, I'm sure you saw everybody wearing Skid Row shirts everywhere when you were out?
You know what? I like it, obviously, because it's representing the band in a way, you know. I always want to ask people when I see them with a band shirt on that they just don't seem to fit that demographic. I always want to say, name one song, just one song, you know. But I think it's cool, like keeping a band's brand. I'm using finger quotes right now. Using a band brand alive, you know, and it worked out for us. We're like a cockroach, man. You can't get rid of this band. You can't kill it.
Yeah, it's got to be a double-edged sword, just like you said, where in one aspect, it's promotion, it's your band. You know, people are you like to see people wearing their shirts, but then you're like, do you know the music? But then, but it's also
how invested are you?
But it's also a sign of respect too that Skid Row got that popular and the brand represented more than even just your music, that it became iconic. So that's pretty cool. That's how I think about it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I see a Skid Row shirt on someone, it makes you feel good. It's like, yeah, cool. There's our idea on a person's, shirt. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's like, so you're on tour with Buck Cherry, or at least you're playing. I know at the Seminole or Hard Rock Tampa. Are you guys like has the party changed? Do you guys still give a little bit of a party, or are you guys all a little bit older now and it's mellowed, or is it exactly the same? Because I've always wondered, because you probably have different varying degrees throughout your career of how hard you want to dabble in fun after a show or during a show, right?
Yeah, it's definitely mellowed a bit. I don't mean like we're brewing sleepy time tea or chamomile while we're playing or anything like that, but we're up for a few drinks after a show, or some of us do, some of us don't. But it we were a lot younger. The hangover didn't last 4 days back when.
I know, man. God, I can have like 2 beers the next day. I wake up with a hangover. I'm like, what is that? Why is this even happening?
Rachel.
Exactly. I had a martini last night, and I'm like questioning it, Like, why did I do that?
Yeah, that's not fair.
Not to get so off topic, but let's talk go-karts.
All right, let's get the business.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk go-kart racing. How did you get into that? Tell me about how many karts you have.
Yeah.
Do you have
Because you got the correct change, you ought to have a ton of karts.
Do you have your own track?
Yeah, well, I've sold my cart. I had one that I'd race it on dirt tracks. Everything that I've had, like all the race cars and stuff I've sold, but I go karting when I can. We just started getting really busy, and there's a saying in racing. It's like, how to make a small fortune in racing is to start with a really big one.
Right.
So
that's good.
that's when I used to race Legends and stuff. But I raced quite a bit. And then I just switched to go-karts because it was just a little easier to transport and didn't take up that much space, you know. But, yeah, I sold it. And it's funny because my friend in Minnesota is the one that got me into go-kart racing, and I just saw him the other day, and he's like, man, those karts that we had, they don't even race them anymore. Those are just, like, fun ones you have now. They've come such a long way. But I definitely want to get back into it at some point because I just absolutely love it. I love racing.
Are they all turning electric? Because I imagine that they will, or is that still the weight of the batteries is too heavy?
There's a lot of indoor tracks. I know all the K1 like indoor karts for fun, like performance karts for fun, are going electric. But mine was just a beefed up Briggs and Stratton that would do about 60 miles an hour.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it was fun on dirt, but you're digging dirt out of your nose and your eyes for like a week afterwards.
Did your management or even bandmates like worry a little bit? You know, it's kind of like when Tiger Woods goes scuba diving, he's cave diving, and people are like, "Don't do that." Yeah, did you get any pushback at all from your bandmates? Or like, "Come on, man! Like you're one of the best like of this style music bass players. I mean, for Christ's sake, Stone Sour's having you play and fill in on records. It's not like you're a slouch, right?" So I would probably, if I were in your band, I'd be like, let's ease off the karting until at least we've got this new record out or something. Did they give you any pushback?
No one really did. One day, no one really has, except for the one day my friend came on. He said, "Hey, man, I have a," he was an amateur dragster. He had a Top Fuel dragster, but he raced amateur. He said, "You want to try it?" And I was like, "Yes." And everyone in the band kind of turned and looked at me and was like, I looked at them, I go, no.
Right, yeah.
I don't ever want to try that thing. Get off the bus, you know. But, that was really the only time. Everyone's really supportive of it. And, I'm smart about it, too. I'm not going to do it while we're on tour or anything like that. I mean, I'll go go-kart racing at, like, a cool place, but
we got them.
I didn't.
We got a couple of them here.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I'm sure Tampa's got them, too. I mean, we're in Orlando, but, run down. Half the guys run you down the road. We got Andretti, K1. I think we got them all.
Yeah. So, Rachel, I'm curious to your touring schedule. Do you guys, tour a small portion of the year and stick to that, or do you basically tour all year long and have time off in between, or is there a big chunk of time you take to yourself?
Yeah, we are. What we like to do is tour for 3 weeks and then take off a couple weeks just to so everyone could go home to their families and hang out and see their kids get their teeth and walk and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and just have some sense of a normal life, and then we go back out. But I think we have about 85 shows on the books as of now, and because we added a second leg to Skid Row Buck Cherry, and I believe there's going to be a third and fourth possibly added. So we got a lot more shows coming up. But yeah, we like to do 3-week stints and then go home for a little bit.
And I guess the last question, I wanted to talk to you. We've worked locally with this El Camino school that teaches basically people how to be roadies and techs.
Yeah, it's a professional guitar tech school where you can go and learn how to set up a rig, set up a person's
anything,
guitar.
build pedal boards, you can all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's really neat because it's trying to give, people that want to work in music but maybe aren't the greatest musicians still the ability to be around what they love and use their technical skills.
And I'm curious,
that's awesome.
Do you see a lot of need for techs in the industry?
Yeah, like a drum tech, a bass tech.
Well, just like every industry is looking for employees, is that happening in the tech industry as well?
Absolutely, and when you hire someone to for a job like that, you want them to know what they're doing. You don't want to have to, especially when you've been around for as long as Skid Row have. We don't want to have to break someone in. So it's usually a referral type thing where I'll call a buddy in another band and say, hey, any bass techs or whatever. And we've had the same guys for years now, and all of them were through friends, in other bands, and that's how we got all of our techs and sound guys and stuff like that. And they're family family to us. They're like as close as anyone in our family. So, yeah, I think something like that is great because I'm just trying to think if I saw someone actually learned. You know, it's not just like, oh, yeah, I could carry a cabinet. No, I learned how to fix that cabinet, and I could, fix your base, and I could do that. I would totally hire them. So, yes, this industry needs something like that.
Yeah.
And I love the name El Camino, the road.
They have been, they actually go as far as, like, for fun, teaching you how to correctly throw a guitar to a guy who needs a new one because they broke a string. Like, it's pretty neat. Like, they do some cool. Yeah, they go out in the parking lot with, like, dummy guitars, and they'll show you how to not look like a fool. I don't know if you saw Bruce Springsteen when he threw that guitar back to his tech. It was like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, he knocked him out?
Well, no, he threw it back to his tech, and his tech wasn't standing there, and the guitar just slammed on the ground, and I'm like, oh my God, there's probably like some 1950s Strat that can't be replaced, that's like rare.
Oh my God.
Yeah, not cool.
Rachel, like, speaking of that, like, now with the music industry, and it seems like, touring is a huge part of any band's, income and what they, do to promote themselves and make money. And so everything has become more professional, or at least that's what people have told me, where, like, it used to be a lot more of a party 30 years ago as compared to everybody's a lot more pro now because there's a lot more money in it. Sure. Now that album sales are not the primary source of income anymore. Right. And have you seen that where everybody's a lot more pro than there used to be, let's say, 30 years ago?
Well, I can't speak for anyone but us, really. We've always been on top of things business-wise, even back in the day. Always asked a lot of questions, and that I always tell, like, up-and-coming bands when they ask me, what do I need to know? And I always say, don't be afraid to ask questions, because these people are working for you. They're helping you, but they're working for you, so you have every right to ask every single question, where every single penny is going. And so we've always stayed on top of stuff like that. And the older we get, and the more, there's new experience almost every day, and you're dealing with a different situation almost every day. So you have to stay on top of things and work closely with the people that are, setting up show, your agents, your manager, your accountants, and all the stuff, your promoters, and there's a lot involved, but it's important that bands pay attention to that side, because if you don't, one day you're just, 2 years down the road, you're like, okay, where is this? You should have asked me that 2 years ago. It's gone, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's just to pay attention. But Skid Row, we've always paid close attention to stuff like that. I know there's a lot of bands that haven't, but yeah, I would say us, we are even more professional, like think more professionally than we have in the past, because we're older. We're in our 50s now and not in our 20s. So it's like if we had any job, we'd pay attention to
it, You're getting better.
Talking about, dude, I just got a new dishwasher when we're on stage. You got to see this thing.
What kind? Is it an LG? Yeah, is it an LG? Yeah, they're good. Yeah, top loader. Yeah, you get all the different.
Well, Rachel,
that's hilarious.
Did social media kind of change that? And we saw it with even like Ozzy Osbourne, where there was this persona of him, and I know reality and stuff but it kind of changed where you started seeing rock stars that you idolize, that you have this perception
and they're not as terrifying.
And they're just normal people, and they're taking out their trash on social media.
They have a dishwasher.
And I remember
throwing ham over the fence.
And I remember when social media first came out that people were complaining. This is 15 years ago.
Kind of ruining the magic.
People are like, it's ruining the magic. I thought, Rachel Boland lived this rock star lifestyle at all times. He wasn't a normal person.
Where's his nose chain? Where is it?
I'm sure you went through that when that started happening.
Yeah.
What did you think at the time?
It's so weird because social media seems like a necessary evil. I'm not crazy about it, because just myself, I'm a very private person, and I don't really put up a lot of private stuff. Every now and then I do, but I try really not to. It's hard, it's like because now people are just showing, I took a bite of a pizza, and it's like, oh, wow, okay, cool. So has everyone else in Italy. So what do I care? You know what I mean? But it's, if you want to keep things current, that's where everybody goes to look. I used to go to Cream Magazine and Circus Magazine and Hit Parader and all that stuff like that every month to get news on Kiss and AC/DC.
Yeah.
The mystique is kind of gone because of stuff like that, but it is what it is. You got to either, just get with the times or you're going to fall behind.
Yeah.
I just don't get too personal on my Instagram.
Yeah, that's good, though. I mean, you don't need to be dishing quotes for blabbermouth or, nobody needs that. This is not, it's just play good music, release the records, have good shows. I think that's where it's at. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for the time today. We really appreciate it. Again, it's Skid Row and Buck Cherry, Tuesday, March 28th, 8 p.m., Seminole Hard Rock Tampa Event Center in Tampa. Rachel, appreciate the time, and hopefully we get to do it again, okay?
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
All right, man. Take care. That is Rachel Bolan, bassist for Skid Row.
When we talk to these guys, and then I think, man, you've been performing for so long, and it's so normal to you because this is your life.
I'm one of these guys now.
I mean, their band started the year I was born.
Yeah. And it's like,
and their new lead singer was born the year after their band started.
I forgot to ask that.
Their new lead singer was born in 87.
That's pretty cool.
That's crazy.
That's pretty cool. But it's got to feel good to get a new guy in there. He really sounds great.
And was a huge fan of the band, and now he's the lead singer.
And if you listen to him, it's very much like, what was the band that did that? Was it... they got the new lead singer that came in.
Journey?
No. Judas Priest. Oh. Remember when they got I think Ripper was like a fan of the band, and then Rob Halford had exited, and then they got him to come in, but it really wasn't that bad because A, big fan, and B, good singer, so you were like, oh, this is okay, we can deal with it, right? Yeah. So you look at the Skid Row album, and I put it on this morning, I was like, damn, that sounds this guy can sing his ass off. Sebastian Bach, nobody's ever going to say he's not a good singer. He's an amazing singer, a singer that was good enough to be on Broadway. But, when people don't work out, in fact, the rumor on that I read this morning was that they didn't even get past text messages as far as, wanting to do a reunion with him. They all started texting. They did, a group text. And the quote...
Sore subject.
...was basically... Yeah, the quote was
it
basically...
ain't happening.
Yeah, we can't even... I think the quote was, we can't even text each other. Look at how much of a D-head this guy... So I'm like, okay, we won't even ask about that.
I wonder how much bigger the actual Skid Row is in California, where all the bums are. That's that they call that Skid Row, right?
Yes.
And how much bigger it is now comparatively to when Skid Row started.
Oh, it's terrible.
Is it 5 times bigger? You know what I'm saying? How many?
Tuberculosis is back over there.
The Black Plague is how
seriously?
How better there than here?
Is it?
It'll spread.
10 times bigger than it used to be, and way it's. I'm just curious to when they.
I'm sure he doesn't know.
No, I know, but when they name, I'm not sure how they got their name, but I imagine
he said it was on the way to one of their rehearsals, but he didn't say why they came up because they used to be called Darkness.
God, now you got me thinking about people flying drones in a homeless camp.
Oh, it's your fantasy.
It's fun.
Because Skid Row, they used to be called Skid Row back then when they named themselves Skid Row, right?
I would assume so.
Don't know.
Yeah. I wonder which came first or whatever. And
I always thought Skid Row was like a prison or something. I didn't know.
It's just like a
bad area.
It's basically a homeless camp in somewhere near L.A., right? In Hollywood.
Don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And but it's just like everybody's sleeping in tents and stuff, and that's COVID was super bad at the time, and then that was they were trying to put homeless people in hotels to keep them away from each other. There was a whole thing.
Bet that's nice though if you get selected to go to the hotel. They're you have COVID and AIDS, you have to go to this hotel. Okay.
What's horrible is that after they were COVID, get the hell out of here,
burn the room,
get out of here, bum. We just didn't want you spreading it around.
Another thing I like to watch on YouTube. And I'm hoping I can put this on my... see if you got this. You can get this on a TikTok algorithm.
Okay.
I like homeless makeovers.
Oh, yeah.
I love a good homeless haircut. Because they're doing a good thing. They're cutting the guy's hair for free. But the transformation is always amazing. It's always amazing.
Have you seen the guy that goes and cuts people's yards? That shows up on my TikTok. He'll go, and then there will be an overgrown yard, and it's usually some like old person that and they're a hoarder inside. You can see it.
You can see it. They'll crack the door.
And
you know why they crack the door? Because of doo-doo.
And then he's like, "Excuse me, sir or ma'am, can I cut your yard?" And then they'll do his whole
extreme landscape makeover.
Well, basically, he edges their yard, cuts it, sweeps, and blows it up.
You watch this with Tommy and Max? I would watch this. Or is this just you? This is just you.
It comes up on my algorithm when I'm scrolling, and then I just watch someone cut someone's yard, and then I'm like, okay, keep scrolling. Like, I'll never even look at the person's name or follow what they're doing.
Oh, you just look at the thing.
Yeah, and I won't even watch the whole thing.
Kind of viewer. You're supposed to like and subscribe.
No.
You know how many people we have that watch our YouTube channel? It's at Tom and Dan Live on
and
YouTube.
Our TikTok, by the way.
Yeah, and then they don't subscribe.
You gotta like and subscribe.
Yeah, you gotta like and subscribe to all that stuff.
I'm always like, my one like is not gonna make a difference.
Will. It's like voting. Your votes matter. You got rock the vote.
Every like counts.
Like, one thumbs up and no one knows.
Do you want to power through on this one, or can we? Because I mean,
it's lunchtime.
It's lunchtime. Oh, yeah, sorry. I was going to work your fingers to the bone.
We will be right back. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer's here. Hello, Sam.
Hi.
And we have a guest, but I want to tell you, before we get to our guest, I want to tell you about an event that is near and dear to our good friend Paul Williams' heart. It's called Pints and Paws. It's going on in the beautiful, historic downtown Sanford L, and you can be a part of it with your booze and your dogs.
Total dog booze fest.
It's a dog booze fest. Yeah, it's like even the dogs are drinking. There's so much booze. It's just everybody. It's just like how many drinks can we have before we riot? Is basically what we do.
If you don't know the inside joke, just look at Paul Williams' Facebook page.
It's fine. Anyway, it's fine. It's one of the longest charity events I believe that he's ever done. Is this
awesome?
11th year?
It is. Yes, the 11th year.
It's the 11th year.
Raised almost $500,000 to date.
$500,000 that they have raised for local pet rescues. Yeah, it's crazy amount of money. So go there and help out. And a lot of it goes to Pet Rescue by Judy. We love Judy. She's the best.
There's over 100 different craft breweries there. They have curated an awesome beer fest.
They're over 1,000 gallons.
Now
of
it's beer fest.
Over 1,000 gallons of beer.
Yeah. And then the food trucks,
and then some dogs. They have some dogs.
Yeah. Bring your dogs. It's a cool event.
It's awesome, but it's a great event. So go there, check it out. It's Pints and Paws.
Eric will be out there.
We'll have representation out there. We're too big to go out ourselves now, so we easily send representation out now. It's like a part of the perks of being.
It's way easier.
Since we're now international podcasting superstars, and we got in before everybody started getting podcasts. We got in just a little, right under the door as it was closing.
Yeah, should have got out though.
Yeah, we should have
cashed out.
It's like Bitcoin. It's just like Bitcoin. We got in and got out. And I'm like the guy with the broccoli hair that they're like, this guy, he billions of dollars just flushed it down the toilet.
Yeah, we stayed in too long, and they were like, it's back to where we got it.
But it's all we know how to do. And now radio is more powerful than podcasting. It'll come back around though.
We'll wait it out.
Yeah, we'll wait it out. Hey, with us, and he's not a local comedian. He's an international comedian that's making his return to Orlando. This is now his home, and you can see him Sunday, March 26th, 7 p.m., theimprovorlando.com to snag your tickets. It is Sean Finnerty.
Hello, gentlemen. How are we? So good to be here. Can I just say, by the way, when you were talking about that event, when did Sanford become so cool?
Yeah, it's cool.
11 years ago when Paul started all the booze fest.
And now they're mad about it.
I remember when I first moved here, Sanford was a place that, like, if you went, you wouldn't tell anyone. And now all of a sudden, it's like, it's so cool now.
It's good. And
downtown Orlando sucks now.
There is no downtown Orlando. There is.
It's Sanford.
He's right.
Yeah,
he's
North
absolutely
Orlando.
correct.
Well, technically, it's. I feel like it's Mills. Like Mills 50 district, and like there's a Milk district. All the districts we heard you guys talking about.
The districts are where it's at.
That's it. Hourglass District, baby.
Yeah. Hey. So Sean's now. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So
His address is.
He bought a house. And so he's moving home to Orlando.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is your first show back at the Improv?
First show back.
And before we get into all the other stuff we're going to get into, because we tangent crazy, I just want to remind everybody, get your tickets, theimprovorlando.com. Mick Thomas
Mick Thomas is on the show with me. So it's a tour that Mick and I created. It's called the All Irish Comedy Tour. So we tour throughout the year, but we with a heavy focus on March with St. Patrick's Day and all that. So we just basically go around the country doing one-nighters in all these great cities. We just went to Chicago, Nashville, Austin, Charlotte, Raleigh. We had an incredible month, and we're capping it all off with my homecoming show in Orlando.
That's
also,
awesome.
My birthday coming up. So just a whole birthday, 10 years in comedy, Orlando celebration.
I mean, 10 years in comedy, coming home, you're not a hole in a wall. You're at a good-ass club and buying a house. I'd say that's pretty damn good, man. Well done.
It finally worked out for the kid. What can I say?
Well done, man. That's awesome.
Luck of the Irish.
That's it.
Not allowed to say that.
I'm part Irish.
All right, guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to walk off now. That's it.
MyAncestry.com.
No. You get one of those.
Thank you. I used it up.
I remember saying Irish twins one time.
Oh, yeah.
And then
this guy over here.
If you carry this on, I'm about to do an Irish goodbye.
There it is.
Yeah.
Well, then someone yelled
People
at
used
me.
to say that about me and my brother, because we're a year and 2 days apart.
Yeah. And then I said it, and then someone was like, "Oh, you can't say that." And then I'm like, "What?"
I mean, that.
And I'm like, "Does anybody care?"
Nobody. I don't care.
Well, it's not the Irish part that bothers me. What bothers me is that you were getting at it before it tightened up again. Like, seriously, that's what bothers me, is that, like, you're supposed to leave that thing alone. Let it fully heal.
Because I feel like, and I know, Sean, we've talked about this before, with like old school racism, has come back around. Where now I feel like people are like, well, we can't make fun of anybody but the Irish.
Right?
It started with the Irish, and now it's back to the Irish.
I don't know if it started with the Irish.
I've always thought we're fairly safe with albinos. I've always thought we're fairly safe.
I'm talking about like old,
unless they're black albinos.
That's true, and we had one at my school, at Deland High School.
I did a comedy gig with a black albino guy.
You did? Oh my God! And we can't even talk about it.
I'm talking about like old school gangs of New York racism.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's like Irish, Italian.
The old twirl your mustache racism.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, Sean, do you find that because I feel like the people are like in your world will, like, St. Patrick's Day is coming up or whatever, and they'll be like, we need someone for St. Patrick's Day.
It's usually a little person. It's usually a little person, right? They get a leprechaun.
Yes, the little people and Sean.
Yeah, we used to. That's it. We used to know a guy, like a little person, who was Irish and he had red hair. You remember this guy?
Oh.
And Dice Man, one of your ne'er-do-well betting buddies, used to hire this little person and dress him up like a leprechaun and then have him bartend at all of his parties.
Oh, that's way better than seeing how far he could throw him.
Yeah, they have done that too. That guy died. Did you know that guy died? That guy's dead now.
Not from that, though.
No, not from that.
Well,
they did say he died of a broken heart.
No,
they did say that.
So, Sean, you encounter that a lot, where people just instantly, because you're Irish, like, Irish, St. Patrick's Day, perfect fit.
Yeah, and it's always hilarious because usually St. Patrick's Day for me is booked like 6 months out, and then some local bar owner will have a contact and try to hit me up 2 weeks out and be like, we'll give you $40. So I'm like, this is the most lucrative month of the year for me.
I'm sure you got nothing else going on.
This is actually last year was the best. I got offered 3 weeks out to host a drag show on St. Patrick's Day for $50.
$50?
Yeah. And it wasn't a bad gig. I took it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Sean, let me talk to you about buying a house. Because there's a couple things that everybody does. Now, I'm sure Bart and Crystal don't want me talking about this.
No, they don't, because you're going to give out misinformation.
Why would you do? What are you going to do?
Stop. You're going to ruin her business.
But let's talk about the...
Have you already purchased it? We can't jeopardize this in any way, right?
No, you can't. No.
Okay, great.
Did you
Congrats again.
Did you get the home inspection?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't you have to get a home inspection?
You don't have to.
Oh, my goodness,
tell
you
you-
chancer, man.
Okay.
I thought legally you had to do it.
No, well, the mortgage company
Won't give you the mortgage if you don't get it.
But there's certain things where, like,
Are you saying fudge it and lie?
No, I'm just saying that a lot of people, they're like, I'm going to get the home inspection, and then next thing you know, you get this thick ass report done by some dude that has Asperger's because right.
I know what you're saying. Okay, 70 pages.
You'll pass everything. Just let me know if you need an inspector.
And then you see like things that are like, this door is broken or this faucet is broken, and then it just reminds you 10 years later that you never fixed it. You know what I'm saying? Because you
left it alone.
Yeah, all these little things that they tell you that are broken, and then you never fix your entire home ownership, and it's like, well, why did I even pay for this? Like, all these broken things never got fixed.
Here's why. Because once they give you the inspection, you can then go to the seller and request certain things to be fixed. So I got a bunch of things fixed that were not lined up correctly,
but that makes them mad.
I don't
care if they're mad.
Yeah.
Well, because you're like,
Tom cares about other people's feelings
really
and what other people
like
think.
today.
That'd be like imagine going to a bar and being like and ordering a $20 cocktail and asking for a lime with it, but then being like, actually, you know what? It might make them mad. You're paying them $20. Give me the lime.
Okay,
He's that guy.
No,
he doesn't like. He would think that tell me if I'm wrong.
This is different.
You would think you're being a pain in their ass, and you would think that you're nitpicking.
All they can do is say no.
Right. I know. Yeah, but
he doesn't like that though. He thinks if they go no, that they're mad at him, and he's like, oh my
and we're
God.
keeping the house.
Right.
Okay.
The bar analogy is: imagine you order a drink and your lime had a little tiny black dot on it, and you're like, there's a little black dot on this. I want a new
it could
lime.
be a dot of poop.
And then you're like, and the bartender's like, come on, it's just limes have black dots. It's fine. It's like, I want a new one. You're good. And then the
you don't have to do it.
That would never happen.
No, why don't you do this?
And
Why
you're
can't
like,
you
give
go?
me $13 for this doorknob.
But you're making the biggest financial purchase of your life.
Yeah.
They can fix a doorknob.
He also goes to extremes. You can also say, if your lime has to use your analogy, a little black dot on it, you can also say, hey, excuse me, this lime looks a little weird. Can I get one more? Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And then that's all it is.
Or not even say it's weird. Just ask for a second lime and not use the first one.
That's even better. Put it in your pocket and you got a lime for later.
You guys are speaking logic
you got a
to Tom.
pocket
It doesn't
lime.
work.
Black dot lime, baby.
He doesn't like our logic. He likes his logic, which is
His
scary.
logic is not
and
logic.
twisted.
But you're buying a $485,000 house in the Hourglass district, and you're asking for you're like, these fan blades are warped.
Your wife would instruct him to do that though.
I know.
So shut the hell up,
Yeah,
Tom.
but he doesn't agree with his wife on everything. You know that.
Quit being
That's
a
why
pain
you're
in
not
the ass.
getting laid.
That's all I'm saying. I'm joking.
That's what your wife also says to you.
I know. So how long is this tour going on?
So we did it. Basically, we did it for the month of March, and now what we're doing is we're adding dates throughout the year. So we're going to. We got some shows up in Long Island in May and South Carolina in June, and so stretching it to kind of doing one weekend a month, and then we go off and do our own things, and then March is the real.
I just got back from South Carolina. What do you think? You've been there many times? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, I like it.
It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's very. I thought South Carolina was just. I was like, we're in Florida. Like it was very Florida-like. The weather's the same. The beaches were the same. The people were really southern. They had a lot of the same stuff I like.
Pretty grounded.
Yeah, it seems very. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, what parts did you go to?
We went to Myrtle Beach, so we were in very touristy.
Oh,
area.
and so you were in the worst part, and you still liked it.
Yeah,
so that's pretty good.
I mean, I got relatives there, but they had a comedy club, and I saw people that we know rolling through there. I forget the name of it.
There was the Comedy Cabana.
That's it.
So they had a second room called Carolina Comedy Club, and I don't work the Cabana because I used to headline Carolina Comedy Club, and then the last time I was through 2 weeks before I got there, they were like, yeah, we're closing forever.
Oh, man.
You've no idea how many clubs I've been about to perform at that they're just like, yeah, we're done.
Really?
Just wiping out weekends for me right
Well,
left and
independent
center.
comedy club to me, unless you're like a big part of like your zanies or your improvs or your, I should have said improv first, considering that's where you're going to be at. But I mean, like I would imagine that owning an independent comedy club would be very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Although you would think that, like, I guess there's booking agencies and stuff. There's like, I feel like there was a lot of really high quality comedians out there that once you get into the world, like, and you get to know, you know what I'm saying? Like, Sean, you could, like, if a comedy club owner like befriended you and like, hey, Sean, can you let me know which comedians to book? Like, you would give them good advice.
I'd have hundreds of names for them, but I think the thing is, scale is important. Like, if you're opening a comedy club, like an independent one, first of all, how big is the venue? Because if you can only seat 100 people, you're not going to get that top tier comedian because they're going to sell out, but you're going to lose money because of their demands, what they want to be paid, etc., etc. But then what some of them do is that they're afraid to take any bit of a chance. So what they do is they just book local garbage man to go up and do his his terrible set.
The same.
And eventually people kind of go, you know what, it's not a good show. You show up, you get sometimes so you need the consistency. I've seen independent clubs who do it perfectly, where they have an audience that is trained to know that they might not have heard of the headliner, but no matter when they show up, they're going to get a great show.
It's going to be quality.
That's important.
And that's what's important about whoever's running the club and who they're booking. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that's never really, I don't think anybody's ever explained that to me, and that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it that sounds difficult, but all the, like, even the local comedians that I know that have been doing it for long enough, like, they all know who can do it. You know what I'm saying? And who can bring the good...
But we don't, right? And that's what he was talking about. Like, we're sort of trained that the improv... I'll give you for instance. Like, we had him roll through years ago at our old studio, Robert Powell. I believe he was just in town and worked with, like, James John and a couple people.
Yeah, okay.
But that guy's hilarious. But I don't think I know anybody that would, like, even see his picture and be like, I know that guy. But we've had him in and I know he's funny.
He's funny. Yeah.
But then, you need the strangers to buy... Then you need ticket
sales. And we're trained around here.
Luckily,
we have a spot that's in a touristy area where I don't know if Krista has a choice but to try and pack it all. I don't think she gets the luxury of the garbage man ever, really, because
it isn't that club is in such an interesting location. I love the Orlando Improv. It's my home club. It's where I started here 10 years ago. But what's fascinating about that club is I couldn't tell you where the draw is. Like, is it a tourist draw, or is it local Orlando people draw, or who buys? I think it's mostly locals. Like, they don't actually get as much of the tourist side.
I'll disagree.
Really?
As someone who goes to the Improv quite often.
You think they get a lot of tourists?
It depends on who the comedian is, too.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's mostly tourists, and you can tell.
Interesting.
It's like their first comedy show ever, and you're
we'd
like,
have
oh
to
my
pick
God.
Krista's brain on it. I bet she knows the patterns and the ways.
I could talk to her tonight about it.
Yeah.
I guess it probably depends on the name, and then what I'm seeing is that a lot of comedians, especially if they're on the road all the time, like the certain cities, they do better than other cities, and like they're known for in certain cities, and that could be because of their relationship with the local media or whatever the hell the reason is. They're like, certain cities work better for them than others, and sometimes random.
Well, even for me, like, it's like if we put, because it's called the All Irish Comedy Tour, this Sunday, Orlando Improv, 7 p.m.
There you go.
If we put a show on in Chicago or Boston, All Irish Comedy Tour, show sells out right away.
Sure.
It's almost like it doesn't matter who's up there. We like Irish. We like Irish here.
I was telling Tom that after getting, not to go back to South Carolina, but after getting back from Myrtle Beach, that there were so many Irish bars and mini golf. It's mini golf wall to wall. There's 500 mini golf
and Irish bars.
A lot of Irish bars, and I was there for St. Patrick's Day, so man, they were bumping. I mean, these places were packed.
Are there in Florida, like every once in a while I'll hear something that I had no idea and never heard of before?
Like Flex Seal, like Flex Tape. He came in yesterday, he's like, have you seen Flex Tape? I was like, no, tell me about it.
It's like someone will tell me, like, oh, have you had a gyro down near Tampa, the Clearwater area, whatever.
What's it called?
With gyro?
A gyro.
There's a rocket.
I don't know.
Listen, I've heard it 100 ways.
And then
I think I hate the people that go, yeah, I was down having it gyro.
And then I'm like, no, and they're like, huge Greek community there. And then like, make a good gyro. And then, and then I'm like, I've never heard that. I'm like, why is there a huge Greek community in like Clearwater or whatever, somewhere in Tampa? And they're like, huge Greek community.
Feta cheese deposit.
Then I'm like, all right. And so is there any in Florida? Is there a place that's known for having a huge Irish community? I haven't heard of that, but I know it's probably somewhere.
Well,
right?
I mean, you forget the sun is our natural enemy, so Florida wouldn't be the hang. But but there are some, like even in the Orlando area, we have like a local like the sports that we play in Ireland. We have local clubs here,
like curling.
Hurling. Yes.
Hurling.
Yeah.
Oh,
curling is the one with the spin and the.
Hurling.
Hurling is like field hockey.
Yeah,
almost.
it's the stick. Yeah. I'm saying it wrong. Yeah, I know.
Game.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Is it related to field hockey?
So that's just how I use as a comparable, but it's almost like it's like lacrosse with a stick and proper goalposts.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah,
but
it's incredible.
Is it that there's a hammer on the end? Or am I?
No, it's a wooden.
Not a hammer. It's wooden. It's shaped wider at the base to hit the ball.
I can find
Okay, and then you're hitting into a goal. What?
Or over the bar. Yeah, you can score goals and points.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me look at this.
There's one.
I'm not familiar with this.
That's a hurling.
Fastest field game in the world.
And it's called hurling.
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 How big is a field?
I love that they say H.
130 meters, I think.
I have no idea.
I don't know what that is.
He doesn't know meters.
Yeah. Speak American.
I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit.
I need Fahrenheit, feet, and inches.
Come here. What's that in bald eagles?
So you guys can get together and do you watch hurling? Do you?
You watch, you play. Yeah.
How do you even watch? Do you have to subscribe to something, or is it just on ESPN 5? Or
no, it hasn't made it that far. No, so the national game when they play, like all the counties in Ireland play against each other, and it plays every year. Yeah, so there's like a subscription. It used to be Satanta Sports over here. Now it's whatever I stream it on online.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Reddit. Thank you. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so many Reddit threads.
Yeah.
So, Sean, let's go back to home ownership, because I'm curious to. You said this is your first house here in Orlando, correct?
Yeah. Got to get a hot tub.
That's the move. I'm already planning the bar.
You got to plan the bar, tiki bar, hot tub, or maybe like an Irish bar. I mean, you're not like a tiki guy. I'm guessing.
Listen,
are you a tiki guy?
Irish bar.
Okay, it's just less corny, right? It's cooler. It's cooler.
Do you have front yard, backyard?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you going to cut it yourself or hire landscaper?
Oh, I'm cutting it myself.
Okay, well, that's your first mistake.
First house, though. No, when it was your first house, I think I did on my first house.
Here's why. I just I like being outdoors.
I thought you hated the sun.
I like being outdoors in the morning.
Spurts. Okay.
I'm an early riser who likes the outdoors.
In the morning, yeah.
There's a difference between the outdoors in a beautiful marsh-like setting, or the beach, or a forest, or a mountain, and the outdoors, your backyard.
With my Irish pub, I think I'll be okay.
And
grab a pint after he mows the lawn.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Well earned. Take a nap.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, it sounds like the dream, because I too had this dream when I first bought my house. I was like, I'll mow the yard, because that's the American dream, right? You mow your yard, you have a beer. It's the Irish dream.
I think everybody's dream. I think the first...
Listen, let me tell you something about America. We mow our lawns, and that is our dream.
Somehow in my dream, you're fighting the lawnmower. The Irish dream.
Put 'em on. I feel like the first 6 cuts as a new homeowner, you are meticulous. Do you have all the gear to cut your yard?
Not yet.
Okay. No. Well, it can get expensive. It can get out of hand.
Here's the problem with it all. The math doesn't add up. So the enjoyment...
200 for the mower.
More than that, 200.
Well, he's going to get one at a pawn shop, right? I mean, you're not going to go get brand new Craftsman or something, or John Deere.
You can get used ones at Lowe's for like 200.
Listen, I'm trying to cut the grass, not create art.
Yeah.
So $200. You spend like $150 on a weed eater.
Listen, I've had rusty old push mowers mowers, because that's all you can get for $200, and it is horrible because first you start mowing your grass, and I say grass, but it all turns, if you don't have the proper turf management,
brown straw.
well, it all turns to weeds.
Brown straw.
It's all
Love this.
It's all somehow a mishmash of like cheap grass and weeds that have grown. But the problem is anytime it gets wet, because of course, like, listen, you're on the road a lot, you're performing, you're busy, and next thing you know, the grass is 8 inches high.
It is important to note, I am also home every week. At some point every week, I am home.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah,
that's good. You're going to need that.
But you're a couple days home. You don't want to be outside in the heat mowing the grass. And it rains all the time in Florida.
Yeah.
I've done this a lot.
So you can't cut it. You can't cut it.
Yeah,
if
but
it's
it usually rains around 3. I'll cut it in the morning.
Yeah. Well, it's wet, still wet in the morning for somehow night rain or the night dew.
You feel like you have woken up in sweats thinking about the lawn.
It's just the humidity. Like you walk out there and the grass is wet, then you start pushing your mower through there, it's clumping up.
It's clumping.
All right, I'll invest in a ride-on lawnmower.
Okay, right.
Okay, you say
I think he wants you to get a service.
Yeah.
And get like a yard man that you can yell at and tell him what to do.
I could never yell at him.
No, you never even see them. You know how fast they come to your yard? They're fat in and out there, and they do it so efficiently. And I feel like Florida is the home of the yard man.
What's the going rate for a yard man?
130. How big's your yard? Well, I'll do the estimate for you. I know enough yard.
We'll say the whole property is like just under a quarter of an acre.
Is it you got a perfect square backyard? Is there some sort of obstructions back there? Because the thing is,
trees, sheds.
There's no trees, and there's one little strip down the side that runs along the side of the house. But for the most part, it's pretty.
He'll throw that in.
Can I get in there with my rider? I'm pretending to be the yard guy.
What's happening? I mean, you got enough to do here.
But you know what? Don't even worry about that, because we're going to deck that off. That's where the lounge to the bar is going.
Okay, so it's less yard.
It's just a square, baby.
Yeah. Because how most yardmen work is
you get a lock on your gate. You get a dog.
Back is fenced in. Got a dog.
Okay.
Well, that's going to cost you more. Mean dog or is it a pee-pee dog or a big dog?
50 pounds.
Oh, that's a big dog.
Somewhere in the middle. But
it's inside the house.
It's a mid-sized.
Okay. It's
a mid-sized station wagon.
Is it an outside dog? Because I got to get in there with my pain pill partner.
Yeah. He's afraid of dogs. And if that thing gets there, he'll work boot its nose off.
No, that dog will, indoors, outdoors, whatever.
Okay.
Sleeps in the bed. Sleeps in the bed with us.
$110 a month. That's
not bad.
And that's in the summer. That's once a week.
That's not bad at all.
In the winter, it's like once every.
Actually, a better price than I thought you were going to get.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
I'm actually interested in this.
Anyway, this episode has been sponsored by Tom's Yard Guy.
He doesn't even do his own damn yard.
Well, because I realize it's so much better after a while.
Do you guys still have a yard guy? Who does all your plants in the back?
Oh, I do the plants. I enjoy.
Yeah, but what about all your grass?
My grass. I got a yard guy.
What about the grass you laid on top of your roots?
Well, now I've got a yard guy and I've got a yard fertilizing company.
Oh my
that comes
God.
because
like
I can't keep it alive
over here.
I don't have time for any of this, so you have to hire these companies, and then you realize you're like, I should have done this the whole time. I've been out there push mowing my yard and miserable for years, and this only cost me $25. Like every single time I was push mowing my yard, I would think, like, what would I pay for someone else to do this? Right. And it would always be more than I
never enjoyed it, not even once.
Right.
Well, not with the push mower. If I'm Forrest Gump and I can go and mow the football field back and forth and listen to podcasts, that's fine. But I'm push mowing, and then I got to weed eat, and my string's always knotted, and I can't get the damn two-stroke started because I left it sitting for too long.
It's all gunky.
So it's a gunky, and then every single time's a nightmare, and then I go to Lowe's, and then my wife's yelling at me, where the hell are you? I'm like, I got to find this string, and then I get the string. Next thing 4 hours.
Sounds like a problem that you have.
Yeah, it's always a problem
because I don't have any of these problems. I've never not mowed my own lawn, and I've only lived in Florida.
What you're describing is not mowing the lawn; it's your neuroticism.
But this is what happens to normal people.
All I'm hearing is so Tom's crazy, and I'm going to mow my own lawn.
Yeah. There you go.
That's what I heard too. Are you familiar with Nextdoor? You're going to have to jump on there,
right?
Because you have a house now, so you got to get on Nextdoor. Now the longest running thread on Nextdoor as of right now that I'm in, and I commented on it. There was a guy in Winter Park and if you're on Nextdoor, you'll see this, who complained because, I'm not going to say his name or anything, he complained because somebody came and cut his backyard and manicured all of his bushes, and he doesn't know who did it.
He doesn't know who did it?
And he wrote on the thing, he's like, this is very concerning to me and my family.
He had a mystery gardener?
Yeah, somebody opened my gate.
Yeah.
And
Free of charge.
This is the part that's bothering
I'm
him.
not a fan
He's
of
like,
someone coming on my property.
I agree with
I
that.
get that. I get that.
But he's not using logic at all because, like, why would someone, he is convinced that somebody was casing his house.
Right.
But nobody's going to, while they're casing your house, go to all the trouble
It's a good
of
front.
perfectly manicuring all of your bushes and
Yeah.
cleaning everything up. They vacuum. They're blowing everything. He wasn't using logic at all. Like, he keeps complaining about, like, he's like, my family is in fear. I'm like, no. What are you talking about?
That's a New York guy going to the wrong address.
Exactly.
That's
exactly
My
what
family
it
is in
was.
fear. My yard is flawless.
Yeah, exactly.
you gotta
Exactly.
and you don't have a pool, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's good, though. That's good. Because
Didn't want one.
It doesn't necessarily help you when you sell it, and it's nothing but work.
Heartache.
Do you have a bunch of trees around?
Perfect for a hot tub, though. You got to get him a hot tub.
Yeah. You're in the market for a hot tub?
Can you get me a hot tub?
Oh, yeah. This is Hot Tub Tommy.
Whoa.
Do you know this man has gotten more hot tubs for more comedians and people that we know? You have.
This is
guy,
wild.
He got you a hot tub. He got you
He
one.
didn't get me no
He's
damn
got
hot
himself
tub.
20, like
Well, I
15
told you
different
to
hot
get
tubs.
yours.
He told you he'd get you one, but I think you were
Everything
afraid
he's
of it.
told me he's going to get me either is giving me broken or hasn't
up, yeah.
or hasn't followed through.
How's that freezer?
I got a broken freezer in my garage
Oh,
right now.
it's broken? I knew it was broken.
It works when I give it
do.
to you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they all say.
Yeah, sure.
He's like, there's a small hole in the bottom. I'm like, what?
Tom gives junk to everyone that
Yeah,
works for him.
he gives us his trash.
Then he
He
wants
brought
you to...
trash into the studio today. We'll talk about that.
All right, Sean. I'm gonna start you off with a hot tub cover,
Yeah.
and we'll work our way up. I just need to find
It's a
a
little
hot tub
moldy.
that fits the cover now, and you're all set.
So let's talk about this deck in the backyard that you're going to build.
No, decks can get out of control.
Yeah. So
You got to get a handyman to build it, not a contractor, because a handyman, it'll be a little rough around the edges and
It'll
some
lean
nails.
a little bit.
My fiance's dad is a wonderful
Perfect.
craftsman. He basically he built the deck in his own
And
house.
that's his
He did
baby.
Yeah,
And then he'll take care. Oh, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
Now, be
and
careful.
Congrats. I didn't know you were engaged.
Got engaged in January.
Hey, man,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You're doing it. You're just checking off the list.
Yeah, wait till I tell you a funny story about that. It was pretty much a layup. Her grandmother gave me her engagement ring from when she was married.
Jesus Christ.
And then the whole
No pressure.
I know, right? Well, honestly,
You're like, you gotta go ahead and marry this girl.
Did you see my eyelids just, when you said that, it was like sweat.
dude, literally no pressure
Yeah.
because it's like, she says yes, happiest day in my life. She says no, free ring.
well, you know,
Oh, what's that? Oh, you're turning me down? Right, got to go pawn your family heirloom.
you know what's funny is that this happened recently to a family member of mine. There was like a couple that we've known that have not been married, but they've been dating for like 15 years or something. You know,
Sure.
and they might as well just be married.
Yeah.
Everybody treats them like they're married. They're
Yeah.
not legally married. But the grandma is like has a problem with them not being legally married or not having the rings.
Right.
And she did the move where she gave
Yeah.
her old family heirloom ring to the guy.
It's kind of a female baller move, right? Like it's a grandma baller move. It's like
I love it.
forcing your hand a little bit.
yeah, because then what do you do at that point? You have to.
Yeah.
Well, so here's what I'll say about this particular scenario is it had been on the cards for a minute, and then when she gave the ring, what's so funny is so the grandmother gave me the ring, and then my fiance's mother, because it happened on Thanksgiving, then she was like, all right, okay, so it's going to happen soon then. And then she started, because it wasn't happening quick enough for her, she would start, like, because I'm like, well, you just gave me a ring. I got to wait a minute for there to be a bit of suspense
Yeah, let
or
me
surprise
process this
around
too,
this thing.
myself,
Also myself, yeah. And so, but
Give me a
so,
second.
She starts inviting you to events that people propose, like, come to this basketball game.
no, you're not. No, listen, you're close.
Okay.
You're close. What she did was she just randomly texted me like, hey, I got this like $100 gift card for Fleming's Steakhouse. and I don't eat meat, so now it's expensive. You're going to pay a little more on top of that. I was like, oh, okay. And so I would just play dumb and be like, yeah, sure, I'll take the free gift card, you know?
Fleming's is dope.
And then after I proposed, I go to my missus, I go, by the way, You're lucky I proposed when I did, because if I held out 6 months longer, we were getting a free trip to Paris. I got this hotel and this first class.
It's right in front of the Eiffel Tower.
Pushing you gifts and things to do.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How do you feel about a trip around the world,
It's
Sean?
also, like, beyond that, it's also really cute that she gave you that. I mean, but, like, that's the
you
pressure.
lucked out, though, as far as, I mean...
you didn't have to buy a ring.
Yeah.
Well, but it's a more meaningful ring, I would imagine.
Exactly, yeah,
I mean,
for
like,
sure.
I can't, like, it's not to take anything away from you. You're going to be very hard pressed, I think, to design something, create something, buy something right off the rack.
Also, I know the grandmother really likes me because the eldest sister got married first, and her husband did not get that ring.
Because in this is a grandma trick out there. The granddaughter that holds out the longest, the boyfriend will get the ring because that's the
final. We got them all over the finish line.
You don't give it out first because then you got no leverage for the last one. You have to give because
that's great.
You know, it's funny.
Like a true businessman over here.
Although it would be funny if somehow like buying your own ring mattered more. Like this would never happen. If usual, like, and the guy would be like, "Oh, this would be."
What if you hated your grandma's ring though?
Like, the thing is, how do you can't say it. You're like, you have to use it.
Well, that sucks.
No, but I know somebody that went through exactly
what if it's an ugly, gaudy ring.
And this person is in my family and is very outspoken, and I cannot even allude to who it is because they listen. But this person said, I do not like it.
Right.
And guess what it did? It hurt feelings,
sure.
and it tore the family apart.
Imagine if you told
I gotta wear this ring every day now.
You know, people not talking to each other, and she pissed me off because you didn't take it, you ungrateful bitch.
This tacky piece of crap.
You're like, no, thank you. I'm going to sales.
Right.
How do you turn it down? K, not this hunk of crap.
Yeah.
Some old world ring.
Even if you felt that way, don't say it.
No, you can't say.
Shut up and put the ring in your pocket.
But my mom
just
had
wear
some
it when
rings.
you're around grandma.
My mom had some rings that were in a little. My mom had when my mom passed away, she had in her bedroom were no exaggeration. It's 70 jewelry boxes, tiny ones.
Wow.
So like little. These little old ladies. Old ladies love little like porcelain boxes, and they usually put little pieces of paper and little pins shaped like apples.
Trinkets.
Little pieces, just dust bunnies. And then when we went through all of that, there were some dinner rings in there that my mom was saying, oh, Andrea would love these. And they're just straight, the most disgusting. They don't even look like jewels. They look like... They look like goblin droppings. They're just
Goblin
They don't even look real. It's just who would wear that? No one would wear that.
If I hated the ring, I would say nothing and pretend I loved it because guess what? Free ring.
Yeah, you're a good boy.
So, Sean, where are you getting married? Have you planned it?
So, after we got engaged, we decided...
He's been engaged for 2 months, Tom. Calm down.
But most ladies kicking into high gear, man.
I'll tell you what,
it's like...
My wife had it planned pre-engagement.
Yeah, but you guys have been together since you were 15. That's good.
It's gross.
I think I feel
you
like
guys have seen each other naked with no hair on your bodies. That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
There's a lot of women that I feel like as soon as they meet a guy, they start planning their future wedding. Right?
Most women, they do that.
I know. No, as soon as we got engaged, we decided the house was the first thing we wanted to do.
Smart.
So we just put our focus on that, and we're thinking destination. Honestly,
dude.
I used to be so against it, and now I because every wedding I attend seems to be 3,000 plus miles away. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing it too. We might go to Argentina or somewhere.
Oh, Daytona Beach.
Okay, yeah. Bike week, baby.
That or Sturgis. I was thinking.
Dude, I feel like at our age, I don't know how old you are, Sean, but
30. I'll be 34 in a few days.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
You're not in your early 20s. When you're in your early 20s, you can't go to destination weddings, so they're like, I can't fly to Mexico.
Right. Yeah.
But then once you start making a little bit of money, you can afford a plane ticket. Like then you start enjoying destination weddings because one, they're gonna be there's less people there.
Trims the numbers.
It trims the
Love
numbers.
that.
Smaller people.
I think it ups the fun.
Smaller people. Yeah, we're just having little people at my wedding.
I'm allowed. Yeah. I'm barely allowed.
When Tiffany did her wedding in Mexico,
that was great.
You seem to go to that one, but not the one that that was in Orlando. That was fun.
I forgot what was going on there.
Tiffany's was fun, and yours was just the normal wedding. He told me that.
He said skiing was more fun. I know.
Well, I was saying, it wasn't Cancun.
He just goes every year to the same goddamn place.
Did your wedding have bulldog margaritas?
Tiffany's wedding did have a foam party as soon as we got there that my daughter got lost in. My daughter was walking as a toddler into a foam party, and we lost her. I had to go in there searching for her.
Wait till I tell you my last 5 weddings. Now, bear in mind, I've lived in Orlando for all of these. My last 5 weddings, Joshua Tree.
All right. Yeah.
So, California.
That's a good one.
And that is the only one that was in America.
Oh, wow.
Of my last 5 weddings.
Jesus.
Yeah, but you're a European international You're fancy town.
No one's ever accused me of being a but I appreciate that.
Fancy.
Italy.
Wow.
Yeah. Portugal.
Wow, dude, I've always wanted to go to Portugal.
It's incredible.
Didn't mean to call you dude.
Incredible and very affordable.
Really?
Incredibly cheap.
I heard the people are awesome. I heard the food is just
fun.
Crazy
the music,
good.
they have this fado, that haunting music they have there, fado. It's incredible.
Yeah, man, Portugal is where it's at.
California, Italy, Portugal, Ireland, and Thailand.
Ooh, Thailand. Man.
How kind of friends do you have?
Yeah,
I need
Not
better
ones
friends.
who live here, apparently.
For real.
This is how dumb Americans are. Because I feel like there's a lot of places like Portugal that are beautiful, and your dollar goes 10 times further than it goes anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? And we never go there as Americans because we don't understand, and we're like, we need some corporate resort to go to.
Portugal is a first world country with third world prices.
I know,
it's incredible.
It's like Costa Rica.
I walked by a bar in Portugal, and they were doing their special was 3 beers and 3 shots for €10. 3 pints and 3 shots for €10. I'm like, if I lived here, I wouldn't be alive.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you could go in there and have a good party for like what? $30 for everybody.
Yeah.
For 10 people.
I threw the office party. Cost me $24.
Yeah, that's nuts, dude.
Yeah, I can't get a gray hot dog at Disney World for $10. You know what I'm saying?
I know. It's so expensive.
And then we go to these places that because we look at every other like foreign place like Portugal. We're like, oh, scared of that. It's like, why are you scared?
I don't know why this is a bit of a non sequitur. On the drive over here, my Uber driver only spoke Spanish, but he had very very little English. But so he started trying to teach me Spanish, and for some reason,
I met this guy Duolingo.
For some reason, hot dog came up, and he was like, "Pero caliente." That was literally 15 minutes ago. And then you're like, hot dog, $10. I'm like, you mean pero caliente?
Hold on, that's not how you say hot dog.
No, it's not.
No, there's a word for it.
That's dog and
he's
hot, but not
that was his translation of.
He doesn't know Spanish.
Well, he doesn't know English, so what does he know?
Maybe Portuguese? I don't know.
Sean, thanks so much for coming by.
Yeah, of course. Let's plug it again. The Improv Orlando to get your tickets on the 26th at 7 p.m. You can see him and Mick Thomas. Sunday, March 26th, all Irish comedy. Is that your birthday? Is that
my birthday is the 30th.
The 30th. Okay, so just go there and celebrate his birthday a little bit early, and go and hang out at the Improv. A lovely place. We're going there tonight to see Tracy Morgan.
Oh, fantastic!
So that should be weird, and it'll be something.
Oh, and by the way, when they go on the website, if they are looking to get tickets to Tracy Morgan, he's all sold out. So just buy tickets to my show instead.
Yeah. Buy those tickets instead.
All right, we will see you on Monday.